when we put this video out, I know that it's going to make some people angry that we did put youth in a room with the drug user group and homeless community. But if that's what it's going to make people watch and listen to what's happening in their community, or in a community close by, or in a community halfway across the world, then be it, right? Because if it takes that, then let's do it. Because I am personally tired of hearing my people in my community are suffering because of stigma. It is literally just because of stigma.
I want some people to be like, that's a horrible idea, having youth and homeless people in a building together, talking and working together, because there definitely will be some of that. And when they say stuff like that, we can be like, why? And that's gonna start to create a dialogue, and they're gonna say why they think it's bad, and then we can be like, well, what about this, and how is it helping? And they'll start to realize that that's like what we were talking about, where you can't get anywhere without conflicting ideas.
We need to start dialogue like this. We need more of this in Abbotsford and everywhere, actually.
The last thing I want is everybody to say that this is the best thing to come out of this community. I want people to be telling us that this is horrible.
When I first heard about drug war survivors, I was really apprehensive, hearing that I'd be working with like a homeless population and a drug user group can be scary. And I hadn't personally had a lot of experience with drug users or homeless people, and so I wasn't entirely sure what to expect. But when I did meet them and I did talk to them, it was really eye-opening to me to see that they were just like me. They all had stories, they all had history, and like they have friends like I do, and they care about one another just like anybody else would. And I think in today's society that really gets forgotten, and they're almost turned into like a type of animal where you kind of just want to stay away from it, but they're not an animal. They're a regular person just like you and me.
When I was born, I was put up for adoption because my birth mom and my birth dad were both using drugs, which would be heroin and cocaine. And so that's why I think this project is actually hitting a heartstring for me, because it does mean a lot to me, and it hurts me to see that the drug user community is being mistreated so badly, and that the homeless population has so much stigma around them, because I know my birth mom is homeless somewhere in Vancouver right now, probably using still. It hurts to know that society starts to resent those who use drugs and resent those who are homeless because they're an inconvenience, but that's not how it is. They're not an inconvenience. They've gone down a path, and a lot of the time our stigma around homeless people and the drug user community is so bad that a lot of people don't want to help them, and they don't want to open doors for them. But with that being said, that's the complete opposite of what we should be doing.
I was kind of nervous that some of the drug war survivors would be kind of like not interested in interacting with the youth. But it was nice to see them, like, they'd make jokes and look at the youth and to kind of see what they thought of the joke, and they'd laugh. And, like, they kind of built a connection that wasn't purely for the sake of the focus group. It was more to, like, actually get involved with each other.
So part of why this meeting is actually starting late today is because in order for us to even get here today, I was on my way here and I got a call from one of the members. It was Nick, right, who called me, and he was waiting for Kaya to come pick him up to give him a ride to be here today. And he's like, Amanda, I don't know what to do. Bylaws is here. So what that means for us, what is the experience of this group, is that so many of the people here are homeless, right? So they've been sleeping underneath the Christmas tree downtown, and they've been they've been sleeping underneath the Christmas tree downtown because it's also where they've been handing out water because it's such extreme weather right now, right? It's so hot out. And so some of the community service organizations have donated water, and many of our members have been there handing it out. Well, this morning they decided that because today is a cooler day than before, that it's not an extreme weather day, and so therefore there's no more extreme weather services. And so immediately bylaws came to where they were and said you have to clear all your personal belongings, and they brought a big recycle truck and they were going to take all their stuff. Now this happens to them all the time. This happens anyways, so we can talk more about that later, but so then what happened is I got on the phone and I called Magda, who is the head of bylaws. She's like the boss of them all. And I just kind of had a little meltdown. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's so frustrating. We're really trying to do positive things in the community, and whenever we try to attend a meeting or we have to have to get these members to step away from their stuff, all their things get stolen. Like every week they have to make a decision between coming to one of their regular meetings and losing literally everything they own and starting all over again. Anyways, and so she said that they could come to this meeting and they wouldn't take their stuff, but that they had until 3 o'clock today. And because we've had such a good time being here, and we've all chatted and eaten and shared together, we are now going to run late. When now everybody in this room who's homeless or, has to make a decision, are they going to stay late and continue to participate and have everything that they own taken from them? It's a decision we face all the time.
And it sucks a lot, yeah.
Well, do you want to talk a bit about it, Doug?
I know. I remember years ago that we used to have to sit and leave somebody out watching their stuff so that they could go in and eat, because bylaw would wait for noon for lunchtime and see everybody going over, and then they'd sneak in while they're eating their food and just start stealing their shit. They're stealing their shit. You know what? Because there's some government official, they can just steal your shit? I don't think so, man. So I fought it, and we took them, to court. We fried their ass.
Did it change anything, in your opinion? Like the day-to-day life of... Like there was a law?
They did for a little while, but then now they're just bylaws changing the bylaws as we go. I mean, we had that park that's beside me, has stairways in the front of it, and on the back of it, it has 2 signs that say no trespassing.
So because of the court case, what the city has learned is to be a little more crafty with how they deal with us.
Yes.
Be a little more crafty with how they write their bylaws. They have now enlisted lawyers to sit directly on the making up of new bylaws. Everybody know what June 4th is? International Chicken Shit Day. First instituted by the city of Abbotsford when they threw chicken shit on me, my cousin, my nephew, one of my bros.
Yeah, the chicken shit was floating in the air. You could see the crystals of it all around, man. You could smell it. It was just, it was so disgusting. I mean, for some human to do that to another human being, I mean, what the heck? Are we back in, England,
What he's trying to point out is it didn't just affect us First Nations. It affected everybody in that area. But their lies were found out in court, and they basically testified against themselves. I call it one thing. They call it human rights violations, but it's crimes against humanity. And they used biological warfare. Things that even the UN says, hey.
They opened up Chunk's tent, emptied a can of bear mace into his tent, zipped it back down, and when he came home that night, tired from working all day long, unzipped his tent, crawled into there, and then realized that he was in trouble and tried to crawl. You have to get milk and I don't know if any of you've been bear sprayed or anything like that. They slashed my tent. They used to, Brian, little B was terrified of the cops. Every time they seen him, they'd cut his tire, wreck his bike. We had a copy of 2 cops. Little B got 2 cops wrecking his camp, and he recorded it on his phone and had that little memory card. Damn kid, he walks with I almost had my fingers on it.
Do you remember when we were at the fucking hospital?
Yeah.
They stole all that fucking shit.
Yeah.
That's Fraser Health that's paying your wages. I didn't get no money back.
Yeah, we talked to him a couple of times. Oh, that's really too bad. Oh,
Like your
Everybody-
hands and sleeping bags.
yes, stuff that I'll never get back, never replace, you know?
Yeah. 10, or lawn, or like easy
Just,
play.
well, just to be treated like a piece of crap, you know, they think that they can just do whatever they want, take whatever they, who the fuck, pardon me, who are they, you know? You know, like, how dare they think that they can just come take my stuff?
Like I said, they wait till we're going for breakfast.
Yeah,
Swoop in.
Yeah, sneak thieves. Just disgusting. And we paid him out of our money.
Yeah, exactly.
We paid him to give it to us.
So I've been accused of being a fucking welfare bum. You know, so I get my money, my welfare check.
Yeah.
I go buy stuff. I still gotta pay taxes.
Yeah,
That's right.
every time we use it. Every time we use the money.
Can I ask a question? How much is the welfare check?
I get $3.20. And then you talk now, I should buy a lot of it, but I gotta grind on the streets.
Yeah. And you can survive in a home in that.
$3.20. That's
You spent 900 grand fighting us.
Buck 10 or something a day.
It's $984,365 or something like that.
Now, they look at somebody that's on the corner shooting up. Look at that junkie. But, you know, that guy might have got hurt in an industrial accident or a car accident. And then, you know, he got Oxycontins and all of a sudden he's cut off.
They're supposed to sign some sort of thing where they don't promote harm. And that guy just destroyed my life, man. He kicked me so hard in the face that it took me a week or two to realize that I was going to be in the most incredible pain in my life. I've been trying to walk. I remember some winters, I have to plan my path so that within 20 minutes I'm like hitting a Safeway, or I'm hitting a Tim Hortons, or I'm hitting somewhere where I can go in and warm my hands up. Because I'll be walking, I'll be on the nod, I'll look like I'm just right out on dope, but I'm not. I'm in pain now. For someone to do drugs, like for myself, to do drugs so that I don't be, so that I'm not in pain, so that I can actually move around and eat and cruise around, cost me $20 a day. So that's $600 a month that I have to pay,
Just so you don't get sick.
just so I don't get sick. Yes.
Like, that's not about like being high and having fun.
No, that's not. No,
yeah.
I'm not being high. No, that's just stopping it so I don't get sick.
And 30 years ago, a $200 bill would have got you enough for the entire supply. So. And it was all clean then. There was no garbage anywhere in that area. Nobody played.
I know that when I first got this job and I like posted on my Facebook, I had a couple of people comment and say, "There's no war on drugs in Canada. That's an American thing."
Yeah, well, there's so many people that are just selling stuff that isn't even dope, you know, to begin with, and then there's people that buy good dope and buff it out so much that it's not even dope anymore, really. I remember I've been so sick, worked, got money, took the only money I made, went and bought some down, went to do it up, did it, and I didn't feel nothing. You know, I'm holding back puke and diarrhea.
When I first got interested, the Drug War Survivors was fighting an anti-harm bylaw. So you weren't allowed to hand out syringes, water, cookers, condoms, lubricant, glass stems, push sticks, brass screens. Now, alcohol wipes, yeah. You weren't allowed to hand out things that cleansed and sanitized people who were subjecting themselves to quite dangerous and risky procedure that is normally, most people think, done by a physician.
Can you imagine that we had to actually go to a court and fight to get it changed from -4 to 0 degrees for the city to allow people to be let inside. Can you imagine sleeping in 0 degrees outside in a tent? I remember when I was doing it that winter, I was wearing everything I had on, everything I wore, I wore, and I was in my sleeping bag, and I was just had my thing wrapped up around my face and all that, and I froze I remember I couldn't wait for the freaking Tim Hortons or something, McDonald's to open up so I could go get a coffee and be warm. I just sat there and froze, man.
There's some days I couldn't feel my leg because it was hypothermia. Like I had to stomp and hope I could walk, man.
Yeah, he fell asleep. He fell asleep on his leg, yeah. And he cut the circulation off.
Reduce circulation, cold steel.
Got it out on it and cut the circulation off and lost his leg, yeah. That guy was a pretty amazing guy. Because he started off just a normal kid, got mixed up with dope, just used really hard, fell asleep on his leg, lost his leg, so now he's in a wheelchair cruising around trying to make dope deals so he can get the drugs so he can live without pain. Because the doctors cut him off with his painkillers and all that. So he did all that. Finally, he got away from the drugs, cleaned that. They gave him a false leg. He walked back into Abbotsford. It was really clean. Did dope again once more. Fell asleep in a loading bay, and a truck drove in and squished him, killed him. Yeah.
I got squashed by a fucking Safeway truck.
And then Jesse too, Jesse was just too free flying, right? Just la-di-da and never really looked, took a step out there and got wrapped up in a semi's gears.
Yeah.
This is just recent, right,
Yeah,
Jesse?
recently, yeah, just
Still point to me is Jesse was good as the sound of the next great
Calvin had a heart attack.
Yeah, but everything. The garbage good force that produced the body.
Calvin had a heart attack. That kid was Narcan every day for the last 5 years. It was coming.
Yeah, we have. Like you said, Nick, people are constantly, falling and dying in our backyard and all around us. We just talked about 2 people that we've lost, and the goal and the focus of drug war survivors is to form a network and to continue to grow our community of drug users so that there is no more deaths, that deaths can be prevented and we can provide safety and information and just fellowship and a reason to be alive and purpose and engaged in, and someone to care about you, someone to pick you up when you're down and to help meet your needs, especially the ones that our city and our government and our country aren't meeting. On a certain level we're just doing the basics, but the little things count, little victories, right? And so our goal and our focus is just keep moving and get bigger. And yeah, we've got some veterans here, so.
You want to change the world. The wise man told me, if you want to change the world, you got to clean up your backyard.
Look in your own backyard.
Yeah.
Don't spend so much time looking at somebody else's, You look at other people's stuff, pretty soon you want it, and you want to be like them, just forget who you are, and it's just stuff you can't take it with you.
But we take care of our own out here.
Absolutely.
No, I say, we should look at countries that have had this problem and made it work, right? Like Amsterdam and stuff like that, right? I heard it doesn't even cost them. They just go into the park and, they say, what's your name? They tell them and they give them their dial out, here's your medication, have a nice time, and they go off in the park and do their dope and go and nod for a few while and they come by and check on them. Oh yeah, you're okay, right? And you get up and then you go back off and off you go. It's like, I don't see why it should cost money for us, people, human beings, why it should cost us anything to feel good.
If there If there was one message that you had for people that would see this that have not been exposed to the life that you have, one thing that you could say to somebody if you had their ear for a minute, what would it be?
Parents, fucking stay home and get a fucking shit.
No, you know, what you need to...
Isn't it on tape?
Yeah.
Stay home, listen to your parents, and get a fucking job.
Yeah.
Tim Hortons hiring me like that.
And that's what I don't think people realize, right, is that I think that people think that if you have young people with drug users that they're going to make them use drugs, and it's so the opposite.
They take care of the young people.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
We've done it many times.
Yeah, Kat, you're ever in trouble when you see me? Come ask me, I'll help you.
Bring my drug out.
I know a lot of the youth were talking about how sad it is that stigma is really surrounding the homeless population in the drug user community, and how they want to change that. And actually quite a few of the youth had all kind of mutually agreed that it would be a really powerful thing to have a drug war survivor or someone from the homeless community come into schools. Although that is highly unachievable, it's something to think about.
I don't know that it's like 100% unachievable. From my understanding, it'd be super difficult and like most likely not able to happen, but I think through progress and maybe with the support of this video and other videos like this, it'll become more possible in the future to reduce the stigma that way.
The only way that youth and adults will come onto an equal page with that is if we like really explain to each other our goals, not just the youth talking to the adults, but vice versa, the adults telling us what they've seen in the past, how their life was growing up, where we can connect or argue about different circumstances.
The drug war survivors will tell stories about like they're living their life on the street, and then they'll see like a couple of kids who ran away from home, or they've left because they've had shitty experiences, and they just say, "What are you doing here? You should go home. There's nothing better here. You'll live a better life at home."
That reminds me, when I was 14, I was like, I was living on the streets for a while there, and there was a homeless couple that, I see them around still sometimes downtown. There was a homeless couple that used to come to Mill Lake and take care of all of me and my friends when we were sleeping there. And if any bad people came around, which one time there was a really bad group of guys that came around, they would take care of us and they would protect us. Social workers didn't protect me in that kind of area. Other people didn't protect me, but those who were the lowest of the low, they are the ones who protected us, and they are the ones who took care of us. And so with that being said, I'll probably have the most respect for the homeless community.
In Canada, we're supposed to have free health care for everybody, no matter who you are, and yet the homeless population and the drug users, they're almost scared to go to the hospital, and they won't go. Like, there's one person, he fell and he's messed up his arm, but rather than going to the hospital, because he's just gonna sit there for like a day and it's gonna take a really long time to get noticed or recognized, they're just gonna wait for him to leave. So he's been like trying to adjust the bones himself in his wrist, and like his entire arm and leg, or not leg, his entire arm and like neck have been messed up for 2 weeks now, and he's just dealing with it on his own because he doesn't want to be ignored in the hospital, and that doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't want to grow up in a community where people are scared to get help.
Wait to judge. Like, be open-minded until you can really say something that you truly believe in. whether or not your initial response is like positive or negative, just wait a bit before you start sharing it. You get to know what you're talking about.
I don't like the looks of that book. I'm not going to read it. Like, that's how they judge us.
Yeah,
Book by the
exactly.
cover. No, but I see the book there. I'm not going to read this one. It's just,
I've heard that book's okay.
it's a drug addict. The book's on drugs.